Alright, this is a video showing you how to change the oil in your Ford Focus RS. Going to need a 15mm socket or wrench, oil filter wrench, T30 socket, some oil, and obviously a filter and a drain pan, and rags for cleaning up the mess. Okay, so jacking the Ford Focus up is a little tricky. The frame, the little splits there where the panel welds are, they're recessed and hidden by plastic. I use these little metal magnetic mounts that click on there from Amazon, and then you can use a jack, or in my case I'm using the quick jack hydraulic jack system to get it up. Once you get it up, there's a under tray that's directly under the engine, and that's going to require removal. And you just basically, there's some pop rivets, and there's 8 Torx bolts that you have to remove, and you can use a powered screwdriver, a gun, or socket, whatever you want to use to remove those 8 bolts. And once you get those off, there's 2 plastic pop rivets, and I just used a trim removal tool to pop those off. And then once you get all the fasteners removed, in the center of the under tray cover is an opening, just a small, I don't know, 4 inches by 3 inches, probably a little bigger. You reach your hand between that, and you pull the tray off the sway bar. It clips onto the sway bar. Makes sense when you're under there. Okay, you got the under tray off. Get underneath there and grab a 15mm, and obviously you just lefty-loosey. Get that out. Let her drain. Some folks will tell you to remove the oil filler cap from the engine prior to doing this. The day I did this, I think I let it sit for like 6 or 7 hours. I really wanted to drain it. This was the first oil change for this car, 1,000 miles, and I wanted to make sure I got as much of the original fill out of the engine. So let that drain, and go have a beer, mow the yard, watch a movie, or you can do it in 10 minutes like some people say, but I don't recommend that, especially for the first oil change. I want to get everything out of there. But it's up to you. I know this is a pretty fascinating video, but yeah, anyways. Okay, so drains over, putting in the 15mm, make sure everything's clean, and tighten it up. If you got a torque wrench, you can take it to 18 foot-pounds of torque, or do like I did and just wing it. And yeah, clean up around there. There's going to be a fair amount of oil that drips around. Okay, so now the oil filter, you need to remove that. I used a wrench, and for some reason I used my torque wrench that I didn't use for the, anyways, disregard. Loosen that up and let that drain. Get that off and let it drain for a few minutes. And now you get the oil. Obviously it's a full sin 550s what I'm using. I got a 12-pack of it off Amazon for a pretty good price, or you can go to the dealer, buy it there. It's a quirky engine for the for oil. It's hard to find it in auto parts stores, and I'm sure you know this, but since it's got a vertical oil filter orientation, fill the oil filter up just so you avoid any kind of starvation during startup, and put oil on the gasket. This is a shot of the original fill oil in the drain pan, and you can see there was a fair amount of metallic and particles in there. The pan was clear and clean before I drained it, and that green dye, I guess, is used as part of the original fill, so you can see, so the factory can check for leaks or something. But anyways, okay, so filter goes back on, super quick, tighten it up, hand tight, and again, this is a good time to wipe down the bottom of the engine area and keep everything clean. Make sure everything's tight, and then put the tray back on, and just yeah, you reach your hand through that opening, snap the tray onto the sway bar, it gets aligned, and once it's in place, then you can go ahead and put the fasteners back in and the clips. This part goes pretty quickly. The headlamp is obviously a necessity if you want to do this late in the hours like I was doing. And yeah, tighten everything up. And using the screw gun was much faster than the little socket and wrench. Make sure everything's tight and we're good, and it's time to get out from under the car and lower it down. And same thing, get those clips off there so you can make sure you don't lose those on the freeway. Pop the hood and get ready to fill it up with some oil. Remove the cap and dump 6 quarts of oil in there with the Rambo style headlamp, which is mandatory for this kind of thing. Get that done, put the cap back on, and now you need to reset the oil life on your car. So with the Focus RS, you get in the car, push the start button without putting your foot on the clutch and the brake so it doesn't actually start the engine. Then hold both the gas and brake pedals simultaneously for a few seconds. That'll reset the oil life. Fire it up, make sure everything's looking good. Look for any kind of leaks under the car, run it up, and drive it around for a few minutes, and then you're good to go. Check the oil after you've driven it, make sure it's full, and that's how you change the oil in the Ford Focus RS. Thanks for watching.